yeah, I'm not giving you any theory today, just to introduce to you this project. And so if you look here, I've got a couple of links. One is going to be to the document which outlines the entire project, the project which covers the semester. So basically from now until April, you have this project. And then the second document there is a rubric or a marking guide, a marking scheme, how I'm going to mark the first component of that project, which is due next week or next Sunday. So not exactly a week from now, but it's not a lot of marks to do. So this image here would be the same as if you went into the content of this course. If you went into the content, and you'd find that there's a module there which is about the term project. And so the term project module's got these items in it. So those are available to you. You can download any of those to find out exactly what it is that you need to do for the project. So starting with those, and I do have 2 links for those, we could just look at the overall document, the document that covers the entire project. And you see 30%, the 30% that it's referring to there is 30% of the total of the course. Attendance, I don't think so. We could check that exactly. How that works is, yeah, so we're in content. If you're ever wanting to know what is the situation with the attendance, you should go to the course information thing there. And yeah, this document here is going to tell you how all the marks are assigned. So it should be in the like, oh, sorry. Go up a bit. Sorry, I'm a bit clumsy in doing this morning. Not just this morning. All right, yeah, there we go. There's our marks. It doesn't say anything there about attendance. So we've got this assignment, which is our project, really. So mostly it's going to be the project is going to be 30% of that. Then we got some labs and group work, and a couple of tests or quizzes, and a comprehensive exam at the end of the semester. That's how we're going to be assessed. It doesn't say anything there about attendance, but I mean, you know that there are sort of rules regarding attendance at the college. So, I mean, if you are not attending your classes, then things like deferred exams and things like that are not available to you, right? You can't sort of miss all your tests and miss all your other classes and then say, oh, I want to have it deferred. I mean, there's certain rules that sort of do apply, and there may be, I don't know, you'd have to check the exact rules at the moment. There's nothing specifically in this course about attendance, so no, I'm not going to give you a mark for attendance. So that's where that was. Let's go back down to the project, which would be after chapter 3. It won't be chapter 3, after chapter 3. So these things, you can find a link directly to them. We were looking at this thing here, and of course you can download it and work on it. Now, I hope that you notice there that you can work together. I want you to have a maximum of 2 people working together. So you can have a group. You can do it by yourself, or you can find a partner, a single partner. Now, the thing that you have to do is you have to develop a website, and you can use Google Site or WordPress to host that for you. They'll do that for free. I mean, you can have a fairly limited sort of WordPress account or Google Site account for free, and that is you can share the link with other people and they can see your website. And so we have talked about these things already, ITSM frameworks. So you would remember me talking about ITIL, and we talked about MOF, etc. Methodologies to do with the ITSM. These things, I want you to look through the notes that have been given to you, chapters 1, 2, and 3, plus do your own independent research on that and come up with something to compare, or the different frameworks, and to illustrate them and explain them better. At the end of the semester or term, you will present your website to the class. Now we can do that online. That's no problem there. And yeah, you will be assessed on that. Now, how does the assessment work? So we have various tasks. There's more than one task. There are 10 tasks. And so the first task there is that you need to decide, are you going to do your comparison, or sorry, your discussion of the different methodologies and frameworks for ITSM, Information Technology Service Management? Are you going to do that using WordPress, or are you going to do that using Google Site? And you have to come up with something that measures the good things for each and the bad things for each. And then you have to submit that to me by next week. And that's going to be worth 2%. And you can do that, as said, by yourself, or all of these things are up to a maximum of a group of 2. So there is another document which describes exactly how we're going to mark that first assessment. And so that's this document here, and I've given you a link to that. So there's 10 marks for it, and it becomes 2% of your course. And so to get the 10 marks, you'll be trying to get everything in this column that's furthest to the left. So you should have a relevant comparison, extensive pros and cons. That means a long list of why you should use this and a long list of why you shouldn't. Strong evidence of research. Hopefully you've done something in your communications courses on how you can evidence research. So you can evidence it by doing, you can give references at the back of your document, citing the places where you got your information from. Hopefully it's not all just from Wikipedia, but but that's a good place to start. Yes, why not? If you're going to be working with somebody, you'll need to acknowledge it. All right, so if you work with somebody on this, sending me an email is a good idea, but also every piece of evidence that you put in, could you just say my partner is, and so we can see that, and they shouldn't be exactly the same, right? So strong evidence, all sources and information are documented. That's what I mean by your references. So you should have a references attachment to your document. Analysis means that you don't just copy out something from Wikipedia. You'll say, oh, well, I agree with this and I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? From this source here, this source said this source said that. I don't agree with either of them, but I agree that there's something sort of like what they're saying. That would be good analysis, right? Comparison is easy to read. So easy to read and understand, generally shorter sentences, shorter paragraphs, not too convoluted, sort of simple logic involved in the words that you write. And then you've got some marks on professionalism. In other words, how do you present your work? So is it correctly styled in terms of, does a page, is it got spelling mistakes? No, we hope. Is it well organized? Is it all done as one document, or is it bits and pieces all over the place? And so to get the 10 marks that you want, you're going to try and do everything that's in that column on the left. I guess the column furthest on the right is a bit of a warning to you. So when you do your submission, have a look at that column on the right also and say, okay, well, I don't want to have anything like that. Little or no attempt for comparison, little or no work. Okay, because if I do that, then I'm going to get 0 marks, right? More than 5 spelling mistakes, document submitted late. If I do that, that would be bad. And also the things in here, because you guys want to excel, you kind of avoid those as well. But you'll be able to see, I hope when I mark it, I shall try and follow this way of marking. So you'll be aiming for the left column there, I hope. So your first exercise is to find out about WordPress, find out about Google Site, and come up with reasons why or why not you should use either one of those. So I hope that's not too difficult a thing for you. Anyways, any sort of comments or questions about that? Now is a good time to do that, to make those questions. I'm going to just take another sort of cut on this, and then I'll do another one. Let's see the Word document. Yeah, put it there. And another one from the top. There'll be a lot of overlap, but that's okay. That's what I want. That way I shouldn't miss anybody. Yeah. Okay. So looking for questions. Maybe came in the chat, but nobody's chatting, so I guess there's no questions. Can you just sort of indicate in the chat that you understand what the exercise is? Okay, can I explain what is the project? Yeah, okay, so good. The project, so I've got two questions there. When is it due and what is the project? The project is in parts. There's little parts to the project, and the different parts are due at different times. And so the first part of your project, which is task 1, that is due next week. So that is due on the 24th of January. And then there's another one. So there's basically stuff almost every week between now and the end of the semester. There's something to do with this is due. Okay, so when is it due? It's due over time. You don't have to finish it now, but you have to finish this first thing, which is your comparison of the pros and cons of Google Site and WordPress. That's due next week. Okay, so I hope I've answered that about the when it's due. If you so let's go back to the term project itself. If you go and look at the term project document, which is this document here, if you open that document, and that's available to you, you should download it if you're interested. The first page is just an overview, but in the second page, it does, second and third page, it does list the tasks and it lists the due dates. Okay, so that should answer when is it due. As for explaining the project, I hope that this document also explains it, because the deliverable and the description should be what it is that you have to do at that time. So for next week, if you look at this document, it says that what you have to do is do a comparison, and then the description explains how do you do that comparison or what is expected in that comparison. So that's for your first week. Then the next week after that, you have to come up with a project plan, and your project plan should follow these instructions here in the description, which is basically just following rules that you would do for any project in an IT sort of related thing at a college. Then you need to do, then after that, a website framework. Maybe you guys did, I mean, I know you all did CP 1000. You might have done CP 1501 or 1520. In which case you had to develop a website and you would have done wireframes, which wireframe is just to sort of draw a screen for a mobile phone and for a desktop computer and say this is where the different elements of the website are going to be, or the web page is going to be. So you can do that there. That's part 3. Incident management video. You actually have to make a little video. How about that? So this page is, or at least you have to make a self-service page, which is going to have some blogs and video. Video would be good to sort of explain what incident management. Let's see, what does it say here? Question is, can we use a video from the internet? I think what you're asking is, do we have to make a video or can we borrow one? So what does it say? Create a self-service page for customers. This page should have blogs and video. You will be building this page throughout the term. Doesn't say that you have to create a video. Okay, so somebody's going to bush lawyer me out of that. So yeah, okay, you have to have a video there. An example of, yes, I could, of 3. Can I do that later? Of task 3 of a website wireframe. I'm not sure if, well, we could do it now. It's just that I have to sort of, I'm not going to make one, but what we could do, this thing is annoying. So what we could do is we could, yeah, I'm going to put that down here. So what we could do is I could go and Google that wireframe, and just if you, when you Google it, if you look for images, you would see some wireframe examples. Online wireframe maker, look at that. That Lucidchart makes wireframes for you. I thought I was looking for images and I still just got web stuff. Let's see, nothing here. There we go. So this is what I mean by a wireframe. This is a pretty good example here. Can I make that bigger? Maybe if I double click on it, what will happen? I hope you can see that, but what it is, see, we just got a box with an X through it. That means that there's some kind of image there. This is showing that there's some text here, and then there's a video embedded in this place here. We've got some links here, and they're put together in a little arrangement there. We've got a little box at the bottom where we have looks like a menu. Then we've got some other links down here. So basically, and then we've got a drop down menu over the top. This is a wireframe, which is showing what the website looks like. And so basically, somebody would create a document like this as the design. The images would be replaceable, but basically that the page, this is what this page would look like. We're not saying exactly what is the video, but this is saying there is a video there. There is some words here. There are some links there. There is a menu structure at the bottom, that type of thing. So that's a wireframe. Here's another one. So there's different ones, and this one is showing a couple of forms, 3 or 4 forms in a website. So somebody's developed that website with a couple of forms on a page. That's not a wireframe. Okay, so we got some other stuff going on there. Sorry. So yeah. Anyway, so that's what I mean as a wireframe. Not all of those things are wireframes. This is a wireframe. This is a nice one. Okay, and so what we see there is we've divided up the web page into lots of different little areas and different things. We get these things here would be where we would put some images with some news, right? A calendar is going to go there. I hope you get the idea out of it of what's going to happen. That's what I mean. So this would be an example of task 3. This guy here has done it. This is what our web page are. And so you're going to have multiple pages for your website, and so you'd have to probably do multiple little diagrams like that. I hope that helps. Yeah. So any other sort of questions on that? Come on. Any chat? No. Yes. So I guess that helps. I don't see any other questions coming, so I'm just going to give you a second. I think I'm going to pause the record. So as I said, familiarize yourself with all of these documents, but start with these 2 in yellow. Make sure you're very familiar with them, and then have a look at the other ones, and you can see them in order: task 2, task 3, task 4, etc. So look at each of those. Make sure you know what you're doing before you actually do exercise 1. That's what I'm suggesting to you. Go through and just look at each of them and say, okay, now that's what the project is. Now I'll go ahead and start on exercise 1. I think that would be a best way of approaching it. Due dates flexible. There's always some flexibility, but if you look at the due dates in the term project, you'll see that we are up against a very hard stop at the end. So I mean, I would not be very comfortable with too much flexibility in the due dates, because you will run out of time. So I'll show you what I mean. If you look at that document, the document here, and just work your way through it, you'll see the dates there, the dates here, and basically I'm asking you to do one thing every week, but you'll see that it's one thing every week right down to April the 4th. And so April the 4th, in that week, you're supposed to start doing your presentations on your project. If you haven't done everything up until then, you wouldn't be able to do your presentation. There's no time after April the 4th, because that's the end of the semester. We got like exam like the next week after that. So that's a problem. Yes, okay, yeah. I mean, I have no problem. I have no sort of philosophical issue with a little bit of flexibility. Yeah. Everybody's life is random at some point. I understand that. So, yeah, we're going to be human about it. But I'm just saying, for your own good, I recommend that you try and stick to the timetable as best you can. Otherwise, you may find it not possible. I mean, this is a hard stop. right? This April the 4th thing is a hard stop because after that you got your exam and it's like I got to put in grades. And this is 30% of the course. So, yeah, if I were you, rather than be looking at flexibility on that, I would be looking at how can I finish this before the date, not after the date, so that so I can stay ahead of it, so that I've got time at the end of the course to prepare for the exam and stuff like that. That's how I would approach it if I were you. I think that's the attitude that you need to have for it.